Hello Mr. and Mrs. Peters, this is Jack from Swindon Caravan Centre, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the inside and outside tour of your caravan. So obviously I'll do the inside first, and then after that we will go through the outside. I'll do that in a separate video as well. So when you first come into the caravan, you turn immediately right, you're going to see this panel on your side here. Now this is obviously to do with your master control, so the best way I can explain it, it does almost exactly what it says on the tin. So the first thing you will come in and switch on is this one here. That's master switch on, powering the caravan. So obviously once you've connected your electrics outside or wanting to just turn your 12-volt lights on, that would be via that switch just there. You then have this one, which is for your water pump, all right? So when obviously you've connected your water outside and want to start bringing it into the caravan, you make sure that one's on, then just go to your taps. You find cold comes pretty much straight through. Hot will then split and splutter for a minute or so. Once obviously the air's passed through or the boiler's filled, you generally then should get a steady stream of water through your taps like so. Obviously you repeat the process through the entirety of all your taps, and then you'll have water in the entirety of the caravan. Then obviously you've got this one here, which does your internal lighting, all right? So this will actually kill, I'll tell you what, let me go around and just turn all the lights on so you can see it. I just thought about that, not even got the lights on. They're all on, on. Just because that switch on the front, basically what you can do, so now all the lights are on, that's obviously front to back. Via this one switch here, you can turn off all of the lights, all right? Obviously, as you saw, you've got switches here, there, and everywhere in the caravan, so you can do them individually, but obviously if you want to kill all of them, you can do it via that one just there. Obviously this one here is simply for the awning light, as easy as that, all right? Really, that is all that panel does. Now you can press the battery sort of symbol there, and it will come up with like a leisure battery health check. Obviously at the moment it'll be a slightly inaccurate reading because we have hookup in the sort of charging as we go in, but as and when you want to, feel free to have a check with that. And that is all that that one does, all right? You then got over here, this screen here for your heating and hot water, all right? So start by obviously turning it on. It does a little animation on the screen, then comes to this one here. If you then just press the menu button, we'll take you to this one. And what you've basically got is the top one is your internal temperature. So that one just there. And you can go all the way up to 30 degrees with that and sitting here far more toasty, believe me. As you can see, it goes up by 0.5 degree, just sort of plus or minus to you see fit. Next one is the hot water, which obviously will start off like so. Then you come to the halfway filled here. Basically what's happening is it will go to what they call an eco mode. So essentially generally what it does is it's just an all-round decent washing up hot water, basically is what I could best way I can explain it. Then you've got the full triangle is what they call a boost mode. So what this does is makes the hot water substantially hotter so that when you have a shower you can use a lot more cold to have a longer shower, because obviously with the caravan boiler you only tend to get 15 litres of hot water, so you have to be quite quick with it, but that just helps prolong that. Then you've got the next one is how to power the heating system off electric. Obviously starts off like so. You have 1, 2 or 3 kilowatts on that, and that will obviously just depend on certain sites will allow more amps. You could therefore give it a bit more power, get up to temperature a lot faster, basically, all right? So obviously in your manuals, which is in that lovely blue pack underneath there, you'll have your manuals in there that will tell you what these equal in terms of ampage, so you know what you can and can't get away with depending on what site you're on at whatever time. You can also turn the gas on, all right? So as soon as that's green, that will try to ignite himself on its own. You don't need to do anything. The only thing you need to do is obviously make sure the gas bottle's on. Obviously, if it detects a problem with the gas or electric, it doesn't matter what mode it does. Basically, the panel itself, this screen, will make a very loud audible beep. In there, that green light will change. It will change from green to orange or red, one of the two. And then on this home screen here, it's usually across the bottom here somewhere, it will say like gas failure or electric failure. It becomes fairly obvious that there's an error somewhere along the lines, all right? Obviously, if you do get the error and you've gone out and sorted out the problem, what I'd recommend to do is just come in, turn the panel off, or turn the electric off or the gas off, whatever you was using, and then restart the process. Usually works wonders, all right? Another thing you can also do is turn the electric and the gas on at the same time, and this will run your heat system off a mix, which will essentially kick up your boiler onto gas. Once it then reaches, say, 15.5 degrees or whatever you've set it to, the electric will then take over and maintain that. It's just obviously in cold weather, gas just gets there quicker than electric does. You have on there as well some settings that you can go through, and this would be like brightness of the screen, 12, 24-hour clock, that kind of thing. Obviously, the only thing I ever say, obviously play about with them. If you ever press something on this panel, didn't have to reverse it, you've got the reset button there that if you press it, it basically says reset system, are you sure? Yes, reset will take you to, as we are now, factory settings and have another go. Because it really is, especially with this panel here, a bit of trial and error. Have a play about with it. There's not much you can do up there that's going to blow up the caravan, he says. Don't be the first. And then you've got underneath here, you've got your boiler, all right? Which as a whole, leave the boiler alone. It will do its purpose as and when it needs to. All you're focusing on is your yellow tap just down there, all right? So, get a better angle on it. Can I turn the light on? I can. So just down there is obviously your grey or your yellow drainage tap, all right? So in that position there, let's say horizontal, locks in the water to carry its journey to your taps. And then when you want to drain it, pop it into the vertical position like so. That will drain straight underneath you. What I tend to recommend people to do is that whenever you finish your stay, regardless of how long you're packing it away for, I would always recommend to leave that tap up, because while you tow, it sort of shakes to and from, and any residual water can make its way out as well, all right? But obviously, as and when you're using the caravan, just leave that in that position just like that, all right? Then, obviously, you have a little bit of storage underneath this side. I would aim to say if you're going to try and store anything under here, try and make it the lighter side of things, pillows, sleeping bags, bits and bobs like that. Obviously, mainly use this side, the other side, as your predominantly storage, which obviously you can access via an external locker, all right? Then obviously you've got your fridge. Simply open the door, and then you've got your controls on the top of the fridge just here. So obviously on your controls, you've got one to go through your modes, and one is just a general thermostat. So on your modes, you've got the top one up there being off. This one, as we are now, is off mains hookup, nice and easy. That one will be off your car battery, so if you just turn to and from a site, get it up to temperature, switch it over to the gas or electric. And obviously your gas is all auto ignite with the gas, so it does everything it needs to automatically. All you need to do actually is basically push that in and then press that one at the same time, and then you've got a pilot light here that the red line will incrementally move into the green to tell you have it ignited correctly onto gas. And once you've done that, you can then adjust that to whatever you see fit at that point. Right. Then obviously your lovely big fridge space. If you needed any more fridge space, this whole freezer section can be removed. There'll be a couple of toggles underneath. Slide them towards the centre of the freezer and out that whole section will come. But generally, nice and easy what lives in there. Obviously, you've also got on the caravan a solar panel, all right? Now, I don't know if you've had solar panels before or anything like that, but generally, the solar panels are very, very good and easy. Basically, they are all automatic. So you don't actually have to do anything to them in terms of turn them on, switch them over, tell them to do anything. They do what they need to as and when they need to. The only thing you can do is pay attention to a lighting pattern on it. So you've got number 1 at the minute will be flashing. And that's basically tell you you've got one leisure battery on the caravan. Number 2 will never be flashing because these can be fitted onto motorhomes, at which point becomes a dual charger. But as far as you're concerned, it's only the one. So all you're going to look at is it does one of two things. Flashes like that to tell you I'm charging, or it goes solid green to tell you I'm charged. That's it. As far as you're concerned, in terms of you having to actually do anything to it, you don't need to. Because as soon as you disconnect your hookup or your car, that solar panel detects that and will instantly turn on and then start doing what it needs to do at that point. All right? Obviously down here, consumer unit, all right, some trips and some fuses, all right, we haven't left you completely blind. There is a sticker down there that tells you which one does what gas appliance, or gas appliance, what am I about, which one does what sort of electrical appliance. Obviously, if you ever needed to, it probably wouldn't harm to just carry some bladed fuses of a variety of ampage. I suppose you'd rather have them and not need them than the other way around. And there is no special fuses in here. These are just generic car bladed fuses, all right? Then in this one, nice bit of wardrobe space. I thought it was in this one. It must be in this one here. It is. So obviously in there is your wet central heating system boiler mix, all right? Now all that lives in there is 50-50 of blue antifreeze and water, or 50-50 mixture of distilled water and blue antifreeze, shall I say. Obviously this is now a sealed unit, so you shouldn't ever have to actually worry about this at all. However, you're going to go in out the cupboard, store things, do whatever. There's obviously a level indicator in the window there. If you're noticing that it's dropping at a fairly alarming rate, I would probably indicate there's a leak somewhere along the lines. Before it comes to you, I'm going to top it up, because basically it's just above the minimum at the moment. But before you leave, I'll top it up. And what I'll do is I'll fill it just a bit below the max. Just because with antifreeze, when it warms up, it will expand. Now, I'd be very surprised if you needed to, but let's say you did need to top up yourself. This comes off, lifted off. On top of that is a screw cap. Obviously unscrew that, and then like I said, there's a min and a max in the window. Just recommend fill it a bit below the max, just because when it warms up will expand. But as far as you're concerned, I would be very surprised if you ever had to do that, to be deadly honest with you. All right. Obviously carpets, for obvious reasons, we don't pop down. Don't want to ruin them before you've seen them. Underbed storage, generally nice and easy. That little black cap just there is for your spare wheel. So obviously, again, let's hope you never need to use it, but let's say you do. What you need to do is just get a flathead screwdriver or something like that, and then in your caravan somewhere, when they're going through the outside videos, I'll be able to find it. But obviously, in your caravan somewhere, you'll have, it will look like a leg winder, but on the other end of it, it will just have like a hook, all right? When you pop that cap off, there'll be like a ring, like that. And basically that hook goes into there and you wind it down as if you was doing your legs, and the wheel would come out underneath the caravan at that point, all right? Obviously, battery box, nice and easy. Obviously, after that, generally, again, nice and easy with those, all right? And then, obviously, head into your bathroom. So the toilet itself can be rotated, adjusted, have a bit more room or a chat. Blue button on the top is electric flush, and then a picture of the cassette up there that will be a light indicator to you to say that the cassette underneath needs emptying, all right? Now, you have, at the bottom of the toilet here, a grey handle, which open and closes. Let me turn the flash on so you can see it a bit better. But that closes and opens, said flap at the bottom of the toilet. The only thing I ever say is if you're ever having issues getting the cassette out, and that'll be from outside, and this flap is open, that will be your reason why. Alright, so you'll definitely know the difference between it's stuck and it's able to come out. But obviously, if you're having issues getting it out, I would first and foremost check that there. Alright? Then, obviously, yeah, so I've got the shower head and stuff in here. And obviously, where I haven't levelled the caravan, I didn't want to run the shower in there just because it isn't level, so I don't want to leave any excess water in your tray. All of your lights in your bathroom are activated by the one pull cord just there. Where's the light switch on that? And it says. And then obviously you've got up here fly screens, blinds. That will be on every window. I'm not going to insult intelligence by saying how to open and close said window. Up here you've got a smoke alarm, which is apparently toast proof. I don't believe it. You have to be the judge of that one. And then a carbon monoxide alarm, which will change upon a service, so you're pretty much fine to leave that one alone. Obviously in this front cupboard here, that is just from the door to along in there, is obviously your TV amplifier and aerial. So that TV amplifier is all ready to go. Just plug into the TV points and away you can go. Then the aerial, the common thing to do anyway, is undo that, push it up, and follow everyone else. Alright, so let's just hope you're not the first ones on site and have to find it yourself, but follow everyone else's direction is the common thing to do. Now, let's say you've got a half decent connection in your telly, but feel like it could be a bit better. That at the moment is telling you we're horizontal. You can take this white handle at the bottom and wind it, and it will start going into a red box, which when finished would look like that. Green H is horizontal and red V is vertical, all right? And it basically goes from that to like that, all right? It's what they would call a fine tune. By all means do so. Just when you're finished, wind it back down so it will go no more. Undo that there, and then always make sure this green box is in the direction of travel, so pointing to the front of the caravan. And then obviously when you're ready, tighten them up like so, and if you ever get unsure, it is all on that sticker as well. All right, and pretty much it's the inside of your caravan. Oh, actually no it's not, ignore me, I've forgotten your cooker. 3 gas hobs, 1 electric hot plate, all electric ignite. For obvious reasons, don't drive with that up, it may not be there when you come back in. In here is a grill pan and handle. Lovely big oven space. And then a bit of storage underneath there for pots, pans, and whatever else. Alright. Now you will have in this one here, again more storage, but you will have some gas taps at the bottom here. Now they're all on, they're all ready to go. They can basically stay on all year round, and I would recommend to do it via the bottle outside, which obviously I'll show you where that placement of that is. But generally, leave these alone is my best recommendation. There is a sticker down there that tells you what one does what gas appliance, but kill it via the source, i.e. the top of the bottle. You cannot go wrong. That is the inside tour of your caravan. Obviously, I'll get this one sent across, and then obviously I'll send the outside one as well. So no worries, I shall see you shortly, guys.